Oh, okay. So, thanks everyone for coming. So today I'll speak about DDD, and often DDD is assumed as a developer's practice, just a practice which helps to develop more sustainable code and close to business domain, but I'm a product manager. I was very long time ago a developer, but my last commit was, I think, 10 years ago. From that time I was analyst, product owner, etc. So now I'm working for the Netherlands Bank for Entrepreneurs, Finom. I'm almost more than 17 years, almost 18 years in IT. So I worked as implementation consultant, analyst, developer, project manager, now product manager. I had experience mostly in working with documents, different documents like internal document workflow and doc flow, external like EDI, etc., with corporate portals. And now, for the last 5 years, I'm working with fintech. And about 2 fintech companies I'd like to speak today. So, at first we discussed the growth problem, because both companies which I worked with were like scale-ups. So we started from like a small team, so we had some product market fit which we approved, but we were growing rapidly, and we had to split our teams, our systems, and handle somehow our growth. So I'll tell how DDD and processor engineering helped us with that, and how products and analysts could work with that, and how you as developers can use it, and how you as managers can use it. So please tell me who faced with the growth at least x2 for, I don't know, for half of a year or for a year, in a year, when your product or your team okay.
Not in France.
Okay. Yeah, actually, the first company was in UK, the second is in Netherlands, but still, yeah, I'm a fan of Tolkien, so guys from Lord of the Rings will be here in presentation. So, Stan International, the company which works with international factoring, we grew in a year 3.5 times. In terms of team, and maybe 3 times in terms of revenue. And in Finom we grew in 8 months 3 times in both revenue and team. So it was really rapid growth, and when it happens so fast, your processes are being ruined after that, because too many people with different cultural fit, it's really hard to work with that. And I think many of you are familiar with this S-curve, which describes the evolution of almost any system, biological system, technological system. Actually, like there were dinosaurs, now we are like a system and dominating on Earth. So, and actually the main thing that this S-curve, it has the growth potential, and then it goes down. The same with the team or with the system, and we should catch this moment. So our development could be a chain of those S-curves, and the team is one of those systems which evolves like that, and we have to catch the moment when we should split team, system, or something like that to be efficient and to grow it efficiently. So, main pain points. Team size issue, because it's the main stuff. I worked with a team of 30 and 35 developers, developers, QAs, analysts, etc. And it was really hard to establish connection between all of team members. And when your team is growing rapidly, it's not a big chance to stay on the same page with all the team members, have the same cultural fit, even without hiring people from different countries and cultures, even in one country. It's really hard to say that because people have different values and it's not easy to understand them. Expanding responsibilities when your system and your team is growing. So somebody should take the manager role because not all people can understand what should they do in this growing environment. So somebody should tell them, maybe at least at first time. And this is the most painful for me. You do not have time for improvements because you always have this, oh, here is a fire, here is something down and you should do something, and business comes to you saying, okay guys, we need this and this, and it's a really big mess to you to understand how to handle all this. And the next question to you: what do you think is the best team size? Yeah, actually, you're right. Again, guys from Tolkien. To be honest, it's 7 plus minus 2. The next slide will explain it from the terms of science, but you can see that Scrum team is often said to be up to 9 people, according to Scrum Guide. Amazon's 2-pizza team, it's about 7 people. And actually, if we go back to some game industry, I'm old fuck in this term, so Lineage 2, World of Warcraft, they have a parties, so it's 5 and 9 person there, so not so many. And even in Tolkien's books, there were 9 people in Friendship of the Ring and 9 Nazguls, so not so many, not more than 10. And this guy, George Miller, in his book at the middle of the previous century, said that our conscience cannot support more than 7 plus minus 2 connections around the working process. So for us, it's really hard. So when we have the next connection, we forget the previous one. So that's why this size is really popular, and it helps us to stay focused and stay on the same page. And actually, I started with 3 musketeers, but actually it was 8 people because there were 4 servants for them. And you can ask me, like Colin Farrell, why are you telling everything about this? And now we're going close to the development stuff. It's Conway's law. If you haven't heard about it, it's not that when company designs some system, they design it according to the way of communicating in organizations. So the way how they communicate inside will reflect the system. And actually, if you have a big team, you can try to build something interesting, some service or microservice architecture which can help with the high-load, etc. But it will still be a monolith. It could be a distributed monolith, which is the worst thing in the world, I think. But still, and if you want to build something independent, teams should be independent. So it should be small teams there. And this is one more side and one more proof that we should split teams during this. So, where did we start? I said I'll tell you about 2 companies. At Stan, I was like analyst and product owner, so there I helped guys with all the stuff. And in Finom, I was one of the leaders of this transformation, so I can say more about Finom, like from manager's perspective. So we had operations team which covered all operations from the point when clients comes to us, we need to onboard them and then process all his invoices. If you don't know factoring, when, for example, we have Ocean and have small suppliers, so, they have some payment delay, so supplier comes to Stan, sell the invoice, and then when the payment time comes, Stan receives money from Ashan. So like that. And from the beginning, when they come with invoice, to the end, when we receive money from the big retailer, operations team was covering all the stuff. And when there was 4 operations specialists and 4 people in development, it was okay, of course. But when we grew up to 20 people, plus several analysts, it becomes very difficult to manage this stuff. The same was at Finom. When we grew to something like 60,000 accounts all over Europe, we got the big team of people who are onboarding, analysts who are checking our clients, etc. And more than 25 developers who were operating in with our system from the point of view of analysts and point of view of our customers in 6 different countries. So different languages, different compliance procedures, not so different, but a little bit different still. And so it was almost the same. In Stan, I had this experience, so in Finom, I can get it a little bit easier, but still, at first we had to find multiple leads. For each small team, we still should have a lead. Then we should make several product owners, and analysts took all this responsibility, or in Finom, it's product managers, we had more of them. But still, we had different tasks which should be split between teams, and it was the first issue when the same task should be done by 2 teams. What should we do? To which team it should go? And then we should split the coded bases, or before it was shared, and we need to make a decision if it should be still shared between 2 teams or it should be split and separated. And we faced these problems that guys committed to another repo without any pull request. So it was our repo before that, a month ago, so let's commit there. Or vice versa, it could be, oh no, it's not our repo anymore. No, we should send this task to another team. So it was like 2 different sides of the one coin. And actually, we had a problem that some team decided that the other, which is split now because it was a big operations team, and then the other was split. They would say that, oh, they left us, they're now doing something else. Of course, it was not serious, but still it was some small problem. But actually, more difficult point was that this team was still assumed to be our own. So we can go to them, just discuss something. We don't fix it anywhere. We just have a short conversation and put the task there. Okay, it's great. So we should handle this and the functionality. The actually, we faced 2 problems which were really opposite. One was that guys, somebody wanted, this is my functionality, but the team said, no, it assumes to us. So it was a problem to understand who should work with that, but some functionality didn't have any owner because now team assumed that it's there. So 2 different problems, but they should be solved. And there we have different practices. No, of course, I'll tell tomorrow mostly about demand-driven design, but actually all of them based on, as I now understand, on common sense. So you just, for example, agile, when you speak about it, you have those 4 principles, main values, and just don't write the big documentation when you don't have a working product. So it doesn't mean that you should not have documentation at all, but just make a balance. And everything about that. The domain-driven design is about the same, and I'll tell about it a bit later. Architectural patterns. Why should we build something when it was built before us? We can just reuse it. The same. So, domain-driven design. As for me, as I said, it's assumed as a development practice, but for me it's firstly collaborative practice. It's about communicating between each other, between dev teams, tech teams and business teams, having the same side on the problem. Because often it's worked like that. Business said, we need something, and they do not care how devs would do that, how it works, and then vice versa. Devs said, they again suggest something we don't understand, what is that? So it's the common problem. The second point is that we need to reduce complexity of the domain, because now, if we compare with 20 or 30 years ago, our domains are dramatically more difficult to understand. Our systems are dramatically harder to develop and to support. So we need to reduce this complexity. Then we need to build the bridge for communication, as I said before. And only the two last points are about mostly development practices, like responsibilities and contexts, and reflecting domain terms into the code. So, three main concepts. I hope it's not a big deal to understand, to see them. It's ambiguous language, so the common language to discuss problems with business. Bounded context, so build some boundaries to have this ambiguous language inside them, and focus on the domain model. As I said, this is the main problem. I know many developers who say that we won't communicate, so we won't have any communications problem. Please set up the ticket in Jira, or write us a very big specification, and we will translate English or French to Java. So the common situation for developers. And the same when I saw some developers are taking part in some meetings with business, I saw that in their eyes there is no understanding what even they're speaking about, and why should we be there? They didn't even understand the purpose of the meeting. So ambiguous language, it's about building the same vocabulary for business and tech teams, because sometimes I saw that in systems, especially inside the code, you can't understand what is the object, what does it mean, and this is a big problem. Then it should be in business, in documents, in tasks, and in code. So the same terms, so you can observe it and understand from where it comes from. Here some code in C#. It's just like a small trick to attract developers' attention. Somebody can tell me what's happening here in the code?
It saves an order.
It
saves an order.
Yeah.
Order and save an order.
Okay. Yes, it saved an order, but there are several more operations.
And calculate the price and the total of the order.
Yeah, but in general, it's understandable. But can you see what characteristics are affecting the price, and what is the state? It's really hard to understand. So if we move a little bit forward with DDD, we could make it get last 3 years completed orders count for, and so even reading this code, I can understand what does this function do. The same discount by, so we understand that it's not just the price calculation, it's discount calculation and how it works. And then version 2 can get us the full description that from the order repository we got the order, we calculate according to the customer's ID some amount of orders they did before, applying the discount, and then setting status awaiting payment. So it's not a big deal to, of course, it's may look a little harder to do that. But now when we have AI, which is helping us to write the code, maybe it would be a little bit easier to handle this. But still, it's just a small example how it could be done easily. And I think it's not a secret that I am from Eastern Europe. I'm from Russia. We have some system which is called 1S. Actually, guys started from translating games to Russian language, and then they made a small accounting system just for accountants. Now they're the main player, like SAP here. In Russia, it's 1S, so they built the biggest system. And actually, I translated this to English, so you can understand what's written there. You see, they're just making all these functions understandable for accountants. So they didn't need even consultants. So the developer come and sit with accountant. Accountant read the code. They understand what's happened there. I don't know if they really implemented the DDD methodology, but it's a great example one of points why guys are successful now. So it's really an interesting example. Bounded context, my favorite picture, the same stuff, but both guys are right because they have different context there. The best description could be done by Martin Fowler. I have here the link for his website. Customer, product, two terms, but you see they have totally different meanings for two different contexts. So that's why we need context, because we can't align the terminology through the whole organization. It should be bound somehow. And the next question to you: whom do you think is the bank client? I'm from the bank, so yeah, you've seen the presentation before. So actually, yeah, Alex is right. So we have support, who assumes even the guy who wrote from the website to the chat, they assume that as a client. But tech team say, okay, we do not know whom that, but when they create an account, it's a client for tech team. Then compliance, okay, he can create any account, while they have not to report them to a regulator or somewhere else. They do not assume as a client. So they said only in this case it's a client. And for finance or operations, only when a client starts to operate, so make any payments, operations, only then they assume that it's a client. So actually it's an example of bounded context, so we should split for 4 at least here. And here's the main concept of categorization of bounded context and subdomains. Actually subdomain, it's part of business, and context, it's like a system which automated. It's core domain, so it's our main stuff which allows us to make money. So it should be developed by our own, and this is the main conception, that we can share it with any company, our main advantage and our main working product. Then we have supporting stuff. Of course, we can share it to somebody if we know that they're professional in this sphere, but we can develop it ourselves because it helps our main product to be delivered to our customers, sold, or something like that. And we have general subdomain, generic. So it's the thing which should not be developed by us because we should not go there. We are not professional in this area. For example, our today meetup. So this is content and my speech. It's my core, like the main. But without Ippon and without Alex, I cannot connect with you. So they're supporting me. So they're really important to deliver my content to you. So they're supporting. And for example, this TV, it's like generic, so we can take any of them, and we actually do not care about them. It's just a small example. Here is The same, yes, that we should develop in-house, outsource or in-house, and only vendor or outsource. But the main problem, and we faced it, it was that DDD is really hard to implement, because Evans and Vernon, the two main authors of DDD conception, they wrote books especially for developers. And when you try to speak with business about the conception, they say, guys, it's your tech stuff. Please don't do that. It's really hard to us. It's complicated. So the main stuff was proposed by Alberto Brandolini, and I think you know that it's event storming. So it's the main practice which helped us to build the relationship and communicate with business and involve them into the process. Please raise your hand who know what is event storming. Oh, okay, great. So I won't be so deep into that. I'll just make a short introduction that the main stuff here is the main event. So it's the main stuff around which we built the whole scheme. So it's some event, user comes to us, user registered, user do something, and it's a business term, business event, not connected to any information system. Then we have people who do something with that comment which they make, and policies which helps us to process it somehow, and some internal systems. So we have three layers. Big picture is often done with business. So they put the events, maybe some hotspots like main problems which they face, systems, people. So they put conflicts, goals, and to be honest, it's the most complicated thing, because you should always facilitate this. The main problem that even different business owners from different departments, they do not know how the process works. And the biggest advantage which we got when we set up guys from marketing, from ops, from transaction monitoring, we aligned the whole vision of the process, and they, oh guys, you do it like that, and we didn't know about it. So they can collaborate after that and use some practices. Then with some users which do something manually with your system, you can apply policies, read models, comments, and then with the tech stuff we can put the aggregates. The aggregated conception, and I prefer not to speak about it right now during the speech, maybe after if you want. It looks like that. So I tried to bring our own, but guys said that I cannot post it even if I blur. So it works like that. We the last session was in Barcelona. We sat about 20 people around the round table and did something like that with our complex and corporate client process. It's just a short example how it grows. Yeah, for event storming, when you have 3 age. Hustler, hacker, and hipster who wanted to build some small e-com shop. Then you finally got somebody who knows technologies and they added cash. Then you have something like that, complicated, many different connections, and after all, you can build such a scheme where, after all, you can put not only events but you see those bounded context where we can set up boundaries between different systems and understand where we interact between any system. And actually in this case we can understand how we can split the team, not only technical team but business teams too. For us it was a painful process when we splitted analyst team to analysts who make CDD, client due diligence and transaction monitoring, who are then monitoring the clients. So it was really painful, but we found the point where we can split them. What did we take from the event storming? It's context and subdomains, of course. Relationships between different entities, actually use cases, how guys from different business functions use our system, because some of them were really not obvious to us as a product team, and to tech team we were really surprised with that. And processes, because as I said, many of different business functions didn't know how it works from the other perspective, and they found several points when they, for example, required the same documents twice from the client. It was about article of association and some second document, I don't remember which one. So we understand that, no, we have it here, so we can just transfer it to another interface, to another function, and we shouldn't make our clients suffer with that. And speaking about those questions, so sorry about the header PDF, broke it. We changed our processes. As I said, we encapsulated our teams. It was the first advantage which we got from domain-driven design and event storming. So we just could set the boundaries for each team and encapsulate inside. So then we split it. It was not so easy, and it was a really hard process. We split our monorepo to different code repositories for each team. It was done, and it's really helped us. And then we established cross-domain projects, and this is the point where we brought 4 new roles. Actually, they were not brought at the one moment. We had a project, then they were changed to delivery managers. It's more or less the same as for me, but I understand there are some differences, but more or less the same. Feature leaders, there were some analysts or product owners who were the main interessants of the particular feature, and they took the main responsibility of going to all the teams and finding their resources, aligning their schedule, aligning their plans to make this feature being delivered. And solution architects, so guys who really communicated on the tech side to implement the solution. And the results in STEM. We were split for 3 teams: Ops Flow, so the guys who made the workflow; Ops Services, guys who made integration for all external services, like currency, like QIC services, etc. And Ops Payments, so the guys who were integrated with bank and covering all the invoice allocation, etc., all this stuff. We had domain architect, 1 PM for the whole domain, and PO for each team, and 3 business teams according to this. So it was done really great, and actually it allowed us to not to hire more people, but grew for 50 or even 60% with the same stuff. Not only in terms of tech, but in terms of business team who were supporting the process. And in Finom, at first we split it for 6 teams. It was platform, so the main platform onboarding team who built the main features like integration, video identity, or something like that. Data sources, it's one of my teams, which is responsible for integrating with all countries' registries. So now it's about 25 different integrations, government registries, different data enrichment for transaction monitoring, for all the stuff. And 4 country-specific teams. It was Germany, France, Italy, and Netherlands, Belgium. So 4 teams. 1 domain architect. We had 1 head of product, and 6 product managers, product analysts. So we were moving from position to position, and 5 business units. But now we decided that our country specific is not so big, but we should focus on the different steps of our process. So it's like CDD team, customer due diligence, which are focused on analysts' needs. Data sources, still my team. Onboarding team, which are making the main onboarding flow, and activation, which makes our users to make the first activity, like make a payment, transaction, or something like that. And the rest is still the same. And now it allows us to make our development process and feature delivery more predictable, because before that it was not obvious if we can deliver in months or in 2 or in 3. Yeah, now it's more, we are almost accurate in that. And actually, yeah, we're splitted entities, build relationships, we establish some processes, but for me it was a real question how all this could be done by developers, if it's developers technique. And the answer is that all this is best known by analysts, products, because business does not understand tech side. Developers, I know great developers who understand business, but not all of them. And these analysts or products are people who are who are in the middle of this situation, and they're in the best position to establish this connection and build, at least start building DDD stuff. Actually, if you're a manager, you can do that. If you are a developer, you can use your manager or analyst and ask them to help with that. As I said, main goals, except collaboration practice. Not only developer job is to manage complexity. Of course, it's developer's job, yes, but not only. Closing communication gaps, it's not developer jobs at all. Dividing teams and responsibilities, yeah, maybe. And code, of course, it's developer job, but not only developer job to follow the code and see that everything is there. So what I can recommend to do, it's build the glossary. It's the first step, which is not so hard to do. Establish the glossary, put all the terms. It could be done iterable, so you can put 10, then 10 more, and align all the understanding. Describe your bounded context. It's really important to have a short description in several sentences. What are you responsible for and what is not in your scope? Because in this case, at first you can show that some functionality doesn't have an owner and it's a problem which should be solved, or you can show that you are the owner of this part of functionality. You can build some information model for the context, like class diagram or entity relation diagram, just the simple one to show the entities and how they're related to each other. Requirements should be done in ambiguous language, and it's the main purpose of working with analyst or product manager, so that they can deliver it with the ambiguous language. And then they should force developers to use this terminology during meetings, during their technical documentation, and inside the code. And the most important for me is to control the identity, because sometimes you could be forced to receive some functionality which logically does not belong to you, but still manager or some head of something insist that you should build it, even your team, because you have resources, because something else. This is one more thing, that even if you try to build it, you then should find team which is more close to that, if it's not consistent with your other projects. For example, for us in Stan, we were forced to make an integration with our main customer, which is about 15 or 18% of the whole portfolio. But guys, we're working with payment. Okay, we've done this integration, but please take it to services. I understand that they do not have resources right now, but in month, please take that to them, because it's their domain responsibility, not ours. And it was done, but in half of a year, but still. And actually, As I said, the most important point of DDD is common sense. I love this phrase from Ivar Jacobsen, or Ivar, I don't know how it's pronounced correctly. It was done on 2017. Kill methods and methodologies and free the practices. So the main meaning for me, just do not follow some methodology without common sense. So take the practices which you should, or which you could at least take at the moment, and implement them step by step. Because I know guys who are implementing some project management and the whole methodology of Prince too, but the whole methodology, it's really hard to implement and it's not working all the time. But still, you should take some different parts and implement them. And then you'll have the best team ever. I know that this Turkish shooter is maybe it lost his actuality, but I cannot resist. So thank you guys for your attention. If you have any questions,